Happy Friday, January 23rd, 2026. This is Blue Lightning Daily, the podcast that is once again entirely made by robots who insist they're just vibing. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. And yes, we're fully AI generated today. Which means if I accidentally interrupt Hunter, it's not my personality, it's the algorithm. Allegedly.
Sure, blame the algorithm. Today's big story, Adobe just dropped Firefly Foundry, and it's basically Adobe saying, okay, generative AI is leaving the group chat and entering the building.
Like it put on slacks, it brought a badge, it said per my last email.
Exactly. Foundry is a custom model building service for studios, agencies, and big brands. The pitch is not, look at this cool AI art. It's make AI that survives brand review, IP constraints, and the 43rd round of stakeholder feedback.
The real horror genre. Stakeholder feedback is basically found footage, but for creatives.
So here's the deal. Instead of using the default Firefly models, a company can work with Adobe to tune models on their own approved assets. The goal is proprietary and on-brand outputs, with governance, access controls, audit trails, the whole enterprise vibe.
Which is the exact reason most teams haven't shipped AI outputs into real campaigns, by the way. It's not just quality. It's like, can legal sleep at night?
Yep. And Adobe's advantage is obvious. Creative Cloud is already where a ton of teams live. Foundry matters if it plugs into Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, not if it's just another weird tool you export from and then lose files in your downloads folder called Final, Really Final.
Wait, hold up. So who's the villain here if the pitch is AI that survives brand review? Is it the model? Is it legal? Or is it the person who leaves comments like, make it pop, with no other context?
Honestly, the villain is ambiguity. Legal gets blamed, but they're responding to risk. Foundry is Adobe trying to reduce the risk by controlling what goes in and making what comes out more traceable.
But you know what's hilarious? Half of brands don't even agree what on-brand means. Like, you ask 10 people, you get 10 different mood boards and one cursed Canva link.
That's where I think Foundry will disappoint first, the messy human part. Custom models can increase the probability you get something on brand, but it can't fix the fact that your brand system is sometimes just vibes and a PDF from 2018.
Wait, so what's the week one use case that won't collapse immediately under politics and approvals?
I'd start narrow. Don't begin with our entire global brand aesthetic. Start with something like product background generations for e-commerce, or consistent campaign variant images for social, or franchise consistent concept frames for a studio pitch deck.
So like, make us 30 thumbnails that don't accidentally look like a competitor? That's actually huge.
Exactly. Or for agencies, the isolation part is a big deal. If you're juggling multiple clients, you need separation. No style bleed, no assets crossing streams.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you though. Isn't this just Adobe doing what other people have been doing, but with nicer paperwork?
It kind of is, but the paperwork is the product. For enterprise teams, the feature isn't pretty pixels, it's governance. Who can generate with what model from what data set and how you audit it later when someone says, where did this come from?
Fair. And it's also the vibe of this whole week in AI stuff is getting less look what I made and more, can I operationalize this without chaos?
Totally. Adobe's been on a streak with that. We just talked about Firefly features landing directly inside Premiere Pro and After Effects. Generative extend, object mask, motion upgrades. That's Adobe saying AI belongs in the timeline, not in a separate tab you forget exists.
The timeline is sacred. If I have to export and re-import one more thing, I'm going to start editing in interpretive dance.
And Object Mask in Premiere Pro is such a good example. Not a glamorous feature, but it kills a time sink. Faster isolation and tracking means fewer detours into After Effects for basic revisions.
Which, for creators and marketing teams, is basically money. Not AI magic, but I can ship before my client discovers a new opinion.
Exactly. So, how do you measure ROI on Foundry without fake math like vibes saved per sprint?
Thank you. Because every deck is like, we saved 12,000 hours. Babe, did you?
The real metrics are boring, but real. Fewer revision cycles, higher usable first draft rate, reduced cleanup time, faster approvals, less back and forth between teams. Also fewer, we can't use that because it's off-brand dead ends.
I'd add fewer Slack emergencies. If your model outputs consistently match the brand system, your creative ops person stops aging in dog years.
Now we should talk ecosystem, because this Foundry move sits inside a bigger trend everybody's building walled gardens.
Yeah. Like, are we heading toward choose your corporate flavor pack creativity? Coke core model? Nike core model? Cinematic universe model?
It's both good and horrifying. Good because it reduces IP risk and increases consistency. Horrifying because it can lead to a world where everything looks like approved brand paste.
The beigeification of creativity. Love that for us.
But it's also a chance for teams to protect their distinctive look. Like if you're a studio with a real visual identity, you don't want the internet aesthetic soup, you want your language.
Okay, but who owns governance? Because I've seen this movie, IT wants to lock it down, legal wants to say no, brand wants it perfect, and then it lands on the one exhausted creative ops person with a spreadsheet and trauma.
The right answer is shared ownership. But practically, it ends up being creative ops and brand working with legal, with IT enforcing access. If it becomes only IT, creators won't use it. If it becomes only creators, legal panics.
Human plus machine plus a third thing, the person who does permissions.
Speaking of permissions, the other big story floating around this week is OpenAI testing sponsored messages in ChatGPT and the cheaper Go plan.
The ads. Yeah. People on X are not chill about it. Like the second you see sponsored under your brainstorm, it feels like your thoughts are being monetized in real time.
And for creators, that's a trust issue. If you're using an assistant for strategy, research, copy, you don't want the tool nudging you with ads in the same interface.
Imagine asking for tagline ideas and it's like, have you considered Burger King? No, jail.
It also connects back to Foundry. Enterprises will pay for control because they don't want unpredictable outputs, and they don't want unpredictable environments.
Exactly. Brands want boring, stable, auditable systems. Creators want speed and cool outputs. The future is both, but in different lanes.
Quick temperature check. What's your realistic take on Foundry for smaller teams?
If you're solo, you probably don't need Enterprise Foundry, but you should steal the mindset. Build your own approved asset kit. Your fonts, your LUTs, your brand textures, your thumbnail templates, your voice guidelines. Then whatever tools you use, you're steering, not gambling.
That's the takeaway. Even if you never touch Foundry, the lesson is control your inputs, define on-brand clearly, and build a repeatable pipeline.
Also, let's be real. AI doesn't remove taste. If your taste is questionable, the model will faithfully generate questionable results, faster.
A truly efficient disaster.
Love that generity.
All right, that's the rundown. Adobe Firefly Foundry is the AI enters production moment. Custom models, governance, audit trails, and workflows that can actually survive real teams.
And if your team has a folder called Final V9. Use this one, Foundry is basically a self-care product.
Thanks for hanging with us on Blue Lightning Daily. Hit subscribe and check out bluelightningtv.com for AI news and updates.
And if an ad pops up under this episode, just know it wasn't us. It was the other robots. Catch you next time.